how road safety affects our society, and the process that it takes to implement it in our country. Motor vehicle accidents are the leading cause of accidental death in the world. Over the span of 365 days, around 1,200,000 people lose their lives because of vehicle incidents, and in the USA, 42,000 people do, more than any other country. Generally, motor vehicle incidents are the leading cause of death for people aged 5 to 29 years old. In our own society, we see the examples of Page Mill Road and Skyline Boulevard, which have taken many lives in the past few years. On these roads, we see the lack of safety promotions, specifically guardrails on sharp turns above cliff edges. We decided to drive to Page Mill Road to see for ourselves. Okay, we are live.
In 2019, a woman was riding her motorcycle down Skyline Boulevard near Page Mill Road, where she swerved off the road and crashed. It's believed a guardrail would have helped save her life. On another instant, 3 boys were driving down Skyline Boulevard near Bear Gulch Road when they also spun out of control and went over the cliff edge. These boys were wearing their seatbelts. They weren't speeding, they weren't under the influence, but they still died due to the unsafe nature of these roads. It is often believed that a guardrail would have helped prevent these children from dying.
In 2017, a man was in a competitive race in the Canary Islands when his brake system stopped working. Almost immediately, he crashed into a guardrail. If the guardrail had not been there, he would have fallen off the cliff, which is very similar to the type of cliffs we see on Skyline and Page Mill Road. He would have died on impact if the rail did not only save him, but redirect his car back onto the road.
We have run a poll at Palo Alto High School to see how many students drive along this road. Among the students that do drive, 95% of them have driven on Page Mill Road and Skyline Boulevard.
If those 3 boys died while following the rules of the road, we can only imagine how much more unsafe the road is when we have drivers under the influence. While it may be hard to stop them from drinking and driving, we can still make the road a safer place by implementing these safety features.
Well, what are some things we can do to help? When looking at all these statistics and accidents in our society, the issue is the implementation of road safety. Through our research, we found one of the most effective and important things we could implement were metal guard barriers on the roads.
Guardrails are typically made in several different formats, but the ones we found most effective are the ones already rarely seen up on Page Mill Road and Skyline Boulevard. These are few and far between. Some need replacements, but the larger case is the road just needs more in general.
The typical strong post guardrail consists of a tin or...
Guardrails are used to absorb impact and stop vehicles from flying into other lanes of traffic or off of cliff edges, as well as redirect the car onto the road. There are 4 main kinds of metal barriers. The most effective one in cliffside, accident-prone areas is the W-beam guardrail. They're designed to absorb force and redirect vehicles back onto the road.
And large cars.
The W-beam guardrail is a cost-effective solution made of galvanized or coated steel that is very effective in being weather-resistant. In comparison to concrete barriers, they are much more cost-effective and overall easier to build and maintain, as well as their modular design, which helps them be easily put into place or replaced.
To implement these barriers, there's a straightforward, easy process where someone has to survey the area to determine the size the barrier should be, and then figure out areas in the ground to base the supports in.
So, why haven't these barriers been implemented? The need for them in our society is clear. We've seen many obvious cases where barriers have saved lives, as well as tragic situations where their absence has led to the loss of life. Although these roadway barriers are a relatively cheap solution, they still require funding, in which local governments often prioritize other concerns. Even so, this is still an issue that must be addressed. Many people agree that our government should give this greater attention because meaningful improvement is far, far away.
Back in 2017, when those 3 boys were killed on Skyline Boulevard, the parents of one of the boys made a GoFundMe to help fund the implementation of road barriers, but it never meant the donation.
So we reached out to the city council to ask how we could help implement these road barriers. And they gave us a few options. For example, attending city council meetings to talk about our topic, reaching out to the local government by emailing them online. But the one that stood out to us the most, that they stated was very effective, was by using our First Amendment rights, as in freedom of speech, and protesting at the exact spot of danger we would want W-beam guardrails to be installed. However, it's a very dangerous activity to do on an extremely windy road with cliffs, and in general, it just seems like a counterintuitive plan. In a single moment, a routine drive can turn into a fight for survival. But barriers like the W-beam guardrail and the choices we make behind the wheel stand between disaster and another choice at life. On every road, safety isn't guaranteed. It's created. And it starts with all of us.